My fellow citizens of tomorrow, it is a rare honor to speak to you today on this, the occasion of your graduation. You are at crossroads today, where I once was, at a point at which crucial, life changing decisions have to be made. So to indulge you would be to disrespect you. So I hope you will enjoy my latitude of thought and my outlandish, unfettered, provocative words in the spirit in which I send them to you, with the utmost love and respect. Who am I? Well, for those of you who don't know me yet, allow me to introduce myself. I am you. Yes, in every way. As you mature, as you grow through life, hopefully you will one day discover that all separation is an illusion. I bleed, breathe, eat, shit, fuck no differently from you. My fear, anger, love, hatred, jealousy is no different from yours. My mind is merely a factory of thoughts, just like yours. My personality is what society has given me. It's not mine. My body is as much water as yours. I was nobody before my birth, and I will be nobody after I pass. So, in those respects, my friend, we are no different. So, what then puts me in a position to advise you, to shine the light on your path, to help you choose wisely at this crucial juncture in your life? My mistakes. See, until very recently, I was a victim of society, purpose built to lose by the same educational institutions. I was made to grease the oars of corporate battleships. My back bears the marks of the mortgage whip, and on my ass, which mind you is far from the envy of the world, is tattooed in very small print a long list of the people who shafted me. Why? Just because they could. I took it all, one painful personal attack after the other. And then, finally, my day came. My very own personal moment of enlightenment. My tryst with divinity. Lying there in my lonely bed one gloomy Saturday afternoon, contemplating a hand job, would you believe it? It suddenly hit me. Everything I was ever taught was a lie, an unwritten conspiracy. And the only way out of this dragnet was to become an entrepreneur. However daunting the thought might have been at the time, it was either that or go on existing without ever, for one moment, ever tasting even a single drop of the juice of life. I put my dick back in my pants. got out of bed, and drew up the plans for what eventually became a multi-million-dollar company, influencing people all over the world from all walks of life, and providing a shelter for those who were like me, rejected by the establishment. Reformed alcoholics, sex addicts, pimps, prostitutes, liars, ex-convicts, and everyone else who came knocking on my door for shelter. And they turned my office into a shrine, sacred ground for angels, where devils fear to tread. Well, that's so much for who I am and why I am here to speak to you. Now, if I may, I shall begin. Remember, it is easier to lead blind people into a ditch. And once you have sent enough of innocent, simple people plunging to their doom, you can walk all over them to the other side. This is how our special, handcrafted, merciless, cannibalistic society works. If you are just starting your professional career, this is perhaps the right time that fate has led you here. If you want to be one of those blind people, then you should stop listening now. Embrace your choice, but be ready for the consequences. If you want to wake up now, at the point at which you are at these crucial crossroads, the fork in your life at which you must choose your professional path, then I ask you to listen carefully to every word. But for God's sake, don't just accept anything I say. Put it on the table. Cut it, smash it, drill it, scrape it, test it, scrutinize it. And then make your own decision. After this, any decision you make is fine with me, just so long as you have made an informed choice. You've made a choice with your eyes open. Right. So at this point, there are largely 3 career paths open to you. And I shall explain them to you in my own inimitable way. Number 1. Satan's very own personal playpen, also known as the public sector, the vortex to which the very worst of us are drawn. To qualify, you have to have that innate ability to sell your own mother for what falls out of a duck's ass at a drop of a hat. Number 2. Dante's Divine Comedy in its true-to-life depiction of purgatory. It's a link between Satan's playpen and the lush green pastures of heaven itself. But it is a maze. No matter what you do, each sudden turn only reveals another, until you begin hopping over corpses before you find your way out. If you ever find your way out. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the private sector. And now, in spot number 3, I present the Colosseum. the amphitheater for gladiators, warriors, people with a do or die attitude. It's not a calling. Necessity one day holds you by the shoulders and then thrust the spear of reality right up your ass, and you fall into the arena to the thunderous applause of the crowd, the bloodthirsty mob, all cheering, jeering, diddling themselves to orgasm, waiting for the sands to soak your blood as the lions tear you apart. My friends, it's called entrepreneurship. Now, in the center of the mob, perched high on his throne, sits Caesar, that coveted icon of financial freedom. Fight till the death and win your freedom. That's the name of the game. Steady on, my boy, because from beyond those gates will come hell's most ferocious angels. Dig your heels deep, my lads, because God is not here today. Alone you stand. Body, mind, and spirit must become one. A whirlwind, a tornado, a cyclone of unbeatable courage. You must win. And it is a prize worth dying for. Now, of these three, you're going to have to pick one, but how? How to choose at this point? This is your dilemma. You're now a bunch of confusion. You have been blinded by society, the educational institutions. And now you are ready to enter the workforce a conformist, a follower, an imitator. Because every tiny shred of your originality has been systematically stripped of you. You're one of the multitudes in the army of slaves. Or do you have a choice? I think you do. But before we go on to discuss the three roads ahead of you, I want you to first consider the following 4 points, which I guarantee you the pillars of our establishment, of our society, would hate for you to do. This is going to be the foundation of what I am about to offer you. If these points do not speak to your heart, and you cannot accept them in their totality, you need listen no further. Number 1, no one can promise you tomorrow. There is no age restriction on the gate of the graveyard. Number 2, you have equal rights to enjoy everything this world has to offer, and nobody should be allowed to deprive you of it. Number 3, if there is a God, that God has to be omnipresent. It then follows that you have got to be part of that God just as much as your neighbor is. You cannot be excluded. Number 4, you have a birthright to question everything. It is a right that no one should deny you. Now, if you have answered yes to these 4 points, then one thing should be glaringly obvious to you. Time is not on your side. And you must choose the quickest possible path to economic self-sufficiency. Your life may end at any moment. You have already lost valuable time. However dismal, it remains a cold, hard fact. The trick is to get economically independent as soon as possible. Once you have a source or two of passive income, you can live life on your own terms. Enjoy this world and all it has to offer. So now, without much ado, let's go on to examine the three paths ahead of you. The path of the public sector. It is for those among you who want that safety net in which you could get paid for doing as little as possible. It's attractive. It seems even smart to some of you. Why bother to explore, battle it out, struggle to compete when you can have a cushy 9 to 5 job in an air conditioned office, subsidized housing, holiday homes perhaps, bonuses, pensions? Seems like a jolly good deal to me. But you never stop to think, hey, this seems too good to be true. Where's the catch? Hang on, I'll tell you. But first, there are two paths to the public sector. One is government or civil service, and the other, the armed forces. Let's first discuss government and civil service. It's a drinking trough for vermin. Take it from me. It's a festering boil for maggots. Check your character, soul, ambition, spirit, self-respect at the door, because this is my space for bastards. In this space, your closest allies, your best talents would be backstabbing, self-denial, betrayal, sloth, anger, ego-stoking, cunning, small-mindedness, arrogance, and every other personality disorder ever to plague the human race. I call it the ass ring of complacence. You survive there until retirement, so long as you do only as much as is required to keep your job. Striving for excellence is vigorously promoted, but strictly discouraged. Why? Because it lifts the lid of the inactivity, the sloth, the incompetence of others. Now, as long as you toe this line, suffer the occasional idiot, you're going to enjoy the comfort of the safety net and a salary on par or slightly below inflation. You'll never be rich, never have options, never be able to make your dreams come true, and eventually you'll retire with a certificate not worth wiping your ass with. A handshake from somebody equally or more inept, and a few dollars you could scarcely buy a burial plot with. If you do get rich, thanks to the fine art of climbing over the bent backs of those who trusted you, you won't have the time to enjoy your money because you can't stop making it. You're being sucked down into the whirlpool of greed. The slave only thinks he is a master. On retirement day, you stand there at the edge of a precipice of life, reviewing your life's many misdeeds. And you console yourself. You've paid the price for the sleep you enjoyed. You have suckled society, and now that you have no more blood to give, it has rolled off onto a younger host to begin a new ride. Then the second part, the defense forces, the armed forces. Now, here, good, innocent people are sold society's hand-carved notions of glory and patriotism. Who are the sellers? The smart ones, who would much rather enjoy life. Putting you against your brother, they decorate you. They promise you immortality and send you into harm's way while they're sitting in their plush offices laughing their sick fucking asses off at you. When young German and British boys were stabbing each other in trenches, what was that murderous bastard of a politician Winston Churchill doing? He was enjoying glass after glass of top quality English sherry and smoking Cuban cigars in his bunker. And his equally loathsome brother, Adolf, was bathing in Eva Braun's golden showers. The defense forces. They take from you everything and hand you down a false sense of purpose. They're a bit like religion. Your reward comes not in this life, but in the afterlife. Good people are sold the fear of occupation and are told to bear arms to protect their loved ones. They are sold a false sense of authority and the illusion of immortality, remembrance. What good does it do you to be remembered? Who in this day and age remembers the so-called idiotic conquerors like Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, Sargon of Akkad, Napoleon Bonaparte, Cyrus the Great, Mahmud of Ghazni, pricks of the first water? You don't even recognize some of these names. After all their effort, they don't matter today. And you won't matter tomorrow. Greatness. What is it? It is an illusion that you purchase with your life. Is it worth being sent into battle to kill your brother, just so that the people who sent you to your death can profit from your innocence, your gullibility, your generosity of heart? You decide that. You want to still join Satan's very own playhouse? Be my guest. Now let's look at the private sector, the rat sack in Dante's Divine Comedy. Smack in the center of Dante's infernal inferno sits the pièce de résistance, the cyclical ladder. You spend your whole life running on it like a hamster in a pet shop, and no matter which rung you are on, there is always someone above you and someone below you. You remain a happy, sad, forever tired rat. You're happy because you've got someone below you, someone to shit on, someone with less than you have. Or it does wonders for the ego. It gives you a sense of victory. But at the same time, you're a sad, depressed little fuck. Why? Because there's a guy above you who's shitting on you. So you spend your whole life working those rungs, but you never reach anywhere. And by the time you discover that the ladder has no end, you can't get off. Why? Because the social acceptance drug that you have been fed from day one won't let you have less than others. So you bend and you bow, you lie and you cheat, grovel your way up the food chain while being careful not to rock the boat. Corporate courage is your arch enemy. The whole reason to live is to do anything and everything to get as much as you can with as little effort as possible. And you call that being smart. Either way, you lose. Live a life like that means to never spread your wings. You take your God given talents right to the grave, and you never discover the wonders you were capable of. Why? Because you were taught to conform. If you do make tens of cash, you live the rest of your days in fear of its loss. You are no longer a free man. You never were a free man. Because now you're a target. Even then, you still can't think of giving up this race for more. You are doomed to toil until one day you drop dead, leaving back everything you worked so hard for and did not enjoy. If you don't make tons of cash, you have nothing to show. One way, you lose your life for money. The other, you lose your money for life. And now we come to the last and the hardest part of all, the path of entrepreneurship. It is not a choice. It is a calling, a divine calling, a priesthood. People who think they can be entrepreneurs usually fail, but they are crowd pleasers. They die a death by a million lashes, and for every one of them, the crowd howls in delight. They are not the chosen ones. Warriors who succeed are people like me. People who were rejected, trampled upon by society, beaten down as a nobody, mocked, starved, ridiculed, shafted senseless by every son of a bitch who could spare a moment to stop by and kick me in the ribs, just for the fun of it. And then, one day, there comes that moment where each and every cell in your body begins to burn with the fire of a billion suns. Fear itself flees for its dear life, and you become the very embodiment of courage. That's when even God's legions of angels and Satan's army of demons together couldn't stop your march to victory. Even nature bows before such a man and becomes his ally. Then no adversary stands before your sword, and within moments your lonely battle is over. Your enemies have fled the field, and you have won your freedom. There are no more worlds to conquer, and now the earth, with all its joys and wonders, are yours to enjoy. You have arrived. Now you spend the rest of your life in sun-kissed fields, enjoying nature, loving a life you had the courage to fight for. You don't just enjoy bliss, now you are bliss. I wish you all lots of love, courage, happiness, health, and humility, and the fortitude to make a wise decision. Until we meet again, thank you.